Good afternoon. The 26th convocation of the Executive MBA program of the Boston University School of Management in the 101st year of the school and in the 175th year of Boston University will now come to order. Would our attendees please rise for the invocation? Boston University Chaplain for International Studies, the Reverend Brittany Longdorf, will provide the invocation.
Please join me in a word of prayer in whatever faith tradition you feel comfortable. Thou source of every gift and grace, from whom we come and to whom our spirits return. Together we invoke thy blessing for this hour as we sit amidst a spirited, joyful, grateful commencement. We rejoice at the very notion of completion, of hard work rewarded and a job well done. We find ourselves thankful for each and every person whose goodness and charity has guided us along this path. We cherish our moments of insights, imagination, creative invention, discoveries, and new ideas that have happened in this space. We find ourselves thankful for the guidance of thoughtful professors, kind administration, and compassionate fellow students and colleagues. The community that we have built has sustained us and helped us to grow into the new light of new love. We have found grace at this, our Boston University, and will continue to uplift her virtues and values of love, truth, knowledge, care, and integrity. Grant us in commencement to reflect on the knowledge gained and friendships made, to renew our sense of self, our identity as graduate, and to rekindle our passions as we move forward into a world of wonder. In the name of everything that is holy, we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. At this time, it's our privilege to welcome Josh Singletary, a member of the Executive MBA class of 2014, representing the graduating class. Josh?
Well. It's too late to change your vote, class. So Mr. Sweeney, Dean Freeman, faculty and staff of Boston University, friends, family, my fellow IMBA 26 classmates and colleagues, I'm proud to speak on behalf of you. And it's all sort of downhill from here, so prepare yourselves. I've been asked to take, just 3 or 5 minutes to sort of sum up 18 months of hard work. But I want to share just a dream that I had last night. I was sort of probably nervous yesterday about this moment, and I had this dream where, I thought I died. And I woke up, and it was very hot, and I could smell sulfur. And sure enough, the devil came along and led me into a room like this, maybe more like our classroom, and told me to stand at a lectern similar to this one. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then he left, and he came back, followed by all of our esteemed faculty. And one by one, sat them in the audience where you're sitting. Then he turned back to me, and he gave me a piece of chalk, and he put a name tag on my shirt that said, Professor Josh Singletary, Finance. and I thought to myself, well, this really isn't that bad at all, until the devil turned back to the faculty and said, welcome to hell. Good afternoon again. So how do you sum up 18 months? I've given a lot of thought, and I think there's sort of 3 distinct transitions that this group has moved through. I think if you recall, these classmates of mine, back to the early days and weeks of this program, it was all about making time, right? That was the advice we were given, that's the advice we followed. You all had your regimens early in the morning, hiding in your office at lunch, late into the night. You were trying to make individual time for this program. And for most of us, that proved almost impossible in those first 6 months, right? For me especially. And then we moved into this phase. We sort of found out on our own. We got some additional advice. We proved some concepts that it wasn't so much about making time as sort of dividing and conquering, right? This whole movement swept through our group that said, well, if I can't do it all on my own, maybe you could do part of it, I'll do another part. Maybe a team will do a part and another team will do another part as well. So we moved through this evolution where we were dividing the work. That was our strategy to win it, and it worked okay. It had its weaknesses. Sometimes dividing isn't as easy as you think. But then towards sort of the last 6 months of this program, maybe, this is something we learned on our trip to South America. We learned that it's not so much about making time or dividing the work as it is about sharing an experience. And it's sharing an experience that makes you the most successful and makes your colleagues the most successful. And we've shared a lot of experiences. And I think in the beginning, for those first 2 phases or so, we thought that the shared experiences were work. And then we found in these last 6 months that the shared experiences were deeply personal. And that deeply personal relationship informed our work and made our work better. So, that's a lesson that I think we crystallized in the last few days of our class. The idea of sharing an experience, of showing up for someone else. And, what does showing up mean? What has it meant to each of us? It's meant sort of sacrificing a little bit of the spotlight that you are used to sharing, doing something for someone else, even if dividing the work should have accounted for that, showing up, listening, accommodating, admitting, right? We learned to show up in the last 6 months, and that was very special, and it made all of our work exemplary. But then I started thinking, is this the end of the lesson? I don't think it is, because I think about all the other people in the room who, without the benefit of 18 months in this program, have been showing up for us. Parents, spouses, friends, children, neighbors, colleagues, mentors. They've shown up for you every day. They showed up for you a long time ago. They shared their spotlight, gave you advice, listened to you, and told you they believed in you and that you would be successful. And I think it's in part thanks to them that you're here. And so what I wish, is that we take this program with us, we do great things, but that we honor what we've learned from each other and from everyone in this room, and that we show up and we share experiences with the next people, and we help make them successful. Because I think that's really the purpose of a program like this, is to do good things in the world, as a recent professor told us. So let's do that. Congratulations, everybody.
Josh, thank you for your thoughtful words of reflection and inspiration. I'm making time, dividing and conquering the work, sharing experiences, the personal aspect of everything in life, both professionally and in our personal lives. What an incredible message. And also a touch of humor. I just got a text while you were speaking from Jimmy Fallon at The Tonight Show. He's asked if you might be available later this week to do the lead-off on the show, so we'll get back to you with that later. At this time, please welcome Professor Fernando Suarez, who brings greetings from the Executive MBA faculty.
Well, buenas tardes, MBA 26. I'm sure by now you're all actually fluent in Spanish, although some of you might need a couple of pisco sours to get totally fluently. Well, I took a day off from hell to come here, and I couldn't grab the red gown though, but no, more seriously, it is really an honor to be here and to have been chosen to represent the faculty to deliver these farewell words to you. I'm also humbled and honored to have been chosen to receive this year the John Russell Award for Excellence in Teaching. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of all my colleagues here, the faculty, the authorities of the school, the staff of the program, when I say that we are really extremely happy to see you here completing this journey of 18 months. It's really great to see you here, guys. I truly say that from the heart. And we all know that it's not easy to juggle the work, all the demanding stuff in your work, the demanding of very hard coursework, because we do have you working a lot, and we know that. And also the demands from your partners, your spouses, it's really hard. And there's a lot of people out there that don't even dare to try it. And you have tried, you have done it, you have succeeded. And I think you should really pause for a moment and be proud of yourself. I mean, this is really a moment that you should enjoy, and so very well done to every single one of you. And I think, at the same time, heartfelt words of gratitude should go to your families, your partners, your significant others in your life, that I'm sure many of them are here with you today. And they have provided you with the love and support that you needed to complete this journey successfully. Nobody's success is really his or her own. We all have people around us providing crucial support, providing that word of consolation or encouragement when we need them most. And so let's just, for a moment, turn our heads to them and give them a big round of applause of gratitude, okay? Thank you very much to all of you. So you have been a very special class for me, I have to say. Not only, and I mean it in the best way possible, not only I enjoyed tremendously every single one of my sessions with you, because they were always interactive, there is always a two-way learning. I did learn a lot from you guys. And I hope you also learned a lot from not just me, but all the professors here. I'm sure you have great memories of all of us. But also, I had this special pleasure to take you to my home country. And that was a first for me. It's the first time that I take a class, an EMBA class, any class actually, to my hometown of Santiago. And I did my best to make you feel at home there. I was able to show you, to introduce you to some of my business contacts. We had great time with some of them there. I was able to tell you and show you actually how much this small country has changed for the better in the last 2 or 3 decades. It's quite amazing actually what has happened there. And I was even, able to run with some of you in the mornings. Well, that was fun. Or to actually, walk down memory lane by having some drinks in a bar while listening live music to all those Latin American songs that I grew up with. So actually, and then by going to Peru with you and insisting that you take the time to go to Machu Picchu, I had the pleasure to have you, see you experience some of the best things that Latin America has to offer, because Peru is also a wonderful country. So, the whole trip was great, and I really appreciate that, and I owe you much for that special trip to South America. It was really remarkable. So I'll try to be brief in my remarks, just to try to leave you with a little bit of a message today. And because today is really your moment, and I want you to spend most of your time with your relatives, your loved ones. So let me try to leave you with a few thoughts, and perhaps sort of a take-home assignment, but we'll leave this optional, okay? And since Chile is doing so well in the World Cup, you still remember, no? Chi, 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 le, le, le? Yeah, okay, good, perfect. So since Chile is doing really well, I will use a soccer, I should say football, a soccer analogy to make the key point I want to make today, okay? And it does relate to Chile and Spain because, you know, the last game was on Wednesday and Chile beat Spain, the defending champion, 2-0. So here's here's my soccer story. You know, it's a real story, and it also happens between Chile and Spain. Only this time the Chileans actually got it kind of lost. So as several as you know, I broke my ankle several years ago. Okay, and here's how it happened. It was actually playing soccer. A friend of mine from Spain, actually who happens to be a professor at the Harvard Medical School, called me one night, this is on a Saturday night about 10 p.m., and he said that he really desperately needed another player for a game they had next mornings, 8 a.m., and they were missing a player. They couldn't play without an extra player, and still we would be like 10, you know, and out of 11. And so, you know, I really, you know, I had no reason to go. I had not played soccer for years and years. You know, I was not part of the team. This guy was calling me at 10 p.m. and for that game next morning. But, you know, I like challenges. I like sports. I used to be quite good, actually, when I was young, even though I had not played for decades. So I just, you know, got up next morning, went there, you know, the story is that, you know, I started playing and everything, and after a while, I actually broke my ankle, you know. I wish I could tell you that I did it, you know, scoring the last goal, and we won the tournament. And sorry, it was a lot more mundane than that. It was actually pretty bad. I just, you know, had a, you know, step wrongly and broke my ankle. And the worst thing is that it happened 5 days before a long planned trip with my dad to go to Italy to sort of see our ancestors there, and his ancestors, really. And, you know, so here I am, you know, going to Italy with a big boot on crutches. And I had to go all the way up and down the hills of Liguria on crutches, and it was actually quite an effort. So that was actually for like 7 days. And then I came back to Boston, to BU here, and still on crutches. I'm in my office with a big boot, and a colleague of mine comes to the office, you know, and says, well, what happened? So, you know, I tell the whole story, and, you know, and she goes, oh, what a pity that you actually went to play soccer that day. And so I remember, you know, looking at her, smiling, and I say, hey, no risk, no fun. And this is my main message to you. I'm not saying here that, you know, you should go and break your ankle, because that's not fun. But what am I suggesting to you today is that, you know, think of your new MBA degree as a hard-won distinction that would allow you to take some risks in your life, in your professional life from now on. I mean, this is really what, the MBA has given you many things. It has given you lots of friends, you know, new friends here in the faculty. But, you know, most of all, it has given you proficiency in the language of business and a toolkit of models, frameworks, approaches, way to look at problems that actually will be very handy for you when you go and face the different scenarios that you will have to face as professionals. So I'd like to encourage you to have a lot of faith in yourself, to think that with this new acquired language, with these new acquired skills, you can actually, equipped with that, you can actually make an important difference in any organization you go to. Okay? But recall that to make a difference, typically making a difference entails taking risks. There's no free lunch. So managing the status quo can be safe, but it's never a strategy that would lead you to make any difference. So I'd like to encourage you to use the boost in confidence you have gained with MBA to take some risk and make a difference. I know you're well equipped to succeed. I'm sure many of you, all of you perhaps, will succeed. But even if you end up breaking an ankle somewhere, you know, recall that bones heal fast, and that sometimes they become even stronger after the fall. So, and you know that I'm not saying this, you know, as the typical, you know, professor on a pedestal on the cloud, that, you know, I have taken my own risks in life, not just in that little soccer game. And as I've told you many times, you know, I've started programs, I've started an MBA, I've actually founded companies, I've lost my own money, big time. That's kind of a broken ankle. You know, I have moved my family 6 times to different countries, you know, cultures and educational systems. So, you know, yes, taking risks does entail some cost, but it makes life a lot more fun and rewarding. So remember that in our organizations too, and I think Josh said this right now, you know, we need people that can make a difference, probably more than ever. We face huge challenges. I just came back from, you know, the Middle East, and there's huge challenges there. There's challenges everywhere. So remember that motto, please. When you go out here, remember, you know, no risk, no fun. And think of what that means for you. We have different tolerances for risk. We have different preferences. So you have to find that balance that works for you. That balance between, safety and risk. And perhaps if you do that, next time you're back in your work, try to find a worthy project that you can spend energy on, okay? And put your heart to try to make a difference, try to make some change. And then perhaps, a few years down the road, maybe a year down the road, you can actually go back and look at what was your, risk-safety balance before you came to the EMBA. And now after that, you have this confidence, this new confidence with this toolkit and concepts. And then, if you see a big difference, because I'm sure many of you will see that big difference, then pause for a moment, savor the change. It's a good change. And then just continue ahead to make more change for your organization and for the world. So guys, I speak from my heart when I say sincere congratulations. We're very proud of you, and we wish you the very best in your future career. Please keep in touch, okay? Thank you.
Professor Suarez, thank you for sharing your words of wisdom and encouragement with us. No risk, no fun. Have confidence. Take a risk to make a difference. It's remarkable. I just got another text. This came from ESPN. They would like Fernando to be the moderator, the commentator for the World Cup moving forward. So well done, Fernando. Yes. We're very pleased at this time to welcome Dick Sweeney as our Executive MBA graduation speaker. Mr. Sweeney is a co-founder of a company I believe many of us know. May I ask for a show of hands? How many of you know the company Keurig? Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dick was one of Keurig's very first employees, a founder and one of the very first employees. He's a Vietnam veteran. He earned his Bachelor of Science in Industrial Administration from the New Jersey Institute of Technology in Newark after 11 years as a student. 11 years. That's called perseverance. He earned his MBA from Fairleigh Dickinson University and worked for several different manufacturing companies before joining Keurig and taking a significant role in building what has become, as you've just evidenced with all of us, an iconic global brand. Please join me in welcoming Dick Sweeney as our Executive MBA graduation speaker.
Wow. Good afternoon, and I'm very honored and humbled to be here. And I first applaud the graduates and then the families who are the supporting cast. You've made an investment in your education, and it's more importantly an investment in yourself. One that will benefit you and your families and the companies that you work for and the companies that you will probably find and run in later years. I earned my MBA about 28 years ago, and I've never regretted it. The ROI has been amazing and totally unexpected. What I found, though, with the executive MBA programs, they go well beyond the case studies, the financial and statistical models, the strategy tests. More importantly, the programs are all about each of you learning from each other. You draw from your experiences, and you grow from there. And that's really the crowning glory of the exec MBA programs. You come from a different environment. You live the work world. Too often, we learn from experience. And experience is often after the fact, and a cruel teacher. She gives the test, then teaches the lesson. You now have a better toolbox to avoid those unintended consequences. It's really important. Before I forget, a few weeks ago I was reading an essay that had nothing to do with business, but a sentence that was embedded in a paragraph just jumped out at me. And it reads as follows. It says, what you're focused on defines what you're not looking at. So it's pretty interesting. And it makes perfect sense. Clearly, each of you understand that. You've spent the last 18 months being very focused to get to where you are today. And you did it by recognizing what the opportunity cost. You had busy lives to start with before you undertook this initiative. And you had to arrange your schedules around an array of pre-existing responsibilities, your family, your friends, your kids, relationships, business obligations, and you did it. Perhaps now it's time to refocus a little bit and say, okay, been there, done that, now I'm moving on. I wanted to pass that thought along to you before it fell victim to a senior moment. It happens at my age. But, you know, so who am I and how the hell did I get here? This is amazing. As I said, I'm humbled and honored, and it's not just words, I really am. I grew up in New Jersey. My mother was widowed at 38 with 4 kids. So my brother and I have been working ever since that time, and I am kind of the quintessential late bloomer. After high school, I got drafted, went to Vietnam, was a medic and a team leader in the LRPS, Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol. Looking back, I really appreciate the management, the leadership, and team dynamics that I learned in the military. They've served me well. Returning from the war, I worked as a UPS driver, got laid off after the Christmas rush, and took a job in a factory. I'd never really been in a factory. I'm a 20-year-old veteran. What did I know? And I learned how to be a welder and an assembler, and we're putting together a product you all know, the storage and retrieval carousels at your local dry cleaner. And I looked around the factory floor, and I thought, this is pretty cool. A, nobody's shooting at me, which is a good thing. And B, you know, how's all this happening? We have raw material coming in one door, 200 guys doing stuff, and a product going out the other door. I'm thinking, how does all that happen? How can I find out about this? And that was really an aha moment for me. I became then enamored with manufacturing, and I have been ever since. So I kind of reconned the shop floor, and I thought, you know, I need to learn more. And I looked in the office, and there were engineers that were solving problems and figuring out new designs and how to make a big conveyor for a small dry cleaner. I saw the plant manager trying to set schedules, get things going. Occasionally, these very well-groomed salesmen would come through the plant looking at the status of their orders. And I'm thinking, this world is neat. I want to be part of it. And this was really, you know, manufacturing at its core, a successful privately held company. So quietly, in that strange world, and it's still a strange world between my years, I selected several role models: the plant manager, the chief engineer, the well-groomed owner of the factory, who at about 3 or 4 o'clock every afternoon would come out into the floor, put on a blue coat, and start wandering over to the prototype area and tinker, coming up with the next idea, how to solve some particular problem. And in observing these guys, I began to make a composite mentor for myself. I thought, okay, what are their behaviors? What are they doing that I'm not doing? What do they talk about? What do they read? You know, what is their education? How did they acquire it? So after a while, I cautiously began to speak with them. And I said, you know, how do I learn more about this manufacturing, this product development world, this business stuff? And with their guidance, they encouraged me to use my GI Bill and go to NJIT, where I eventually, as I mentioned, after 11 years being a very slow student, graduated from. I stayed with White for a total of about 10 years and then had to move on because I got up to a director level, but realized I was always going to be the kid. I was the kid who came in from the shop floor. And in my mind, that wasn't going to change. Perhaps it would be the case, but I couldn't clear that thought. So I went on to a company that made scientific lighting, and then a company that was involved in appliances, and I got involved in some international business. I got promoted to becoming a VP of operations, started my MBA program at Fairleigh Dickinson, and moved on from there. The electrical lighting company hired me back as a VP of manufacturing. A very tough union environment in Newark, New Jersey. That company eventually folded, but with that resume of knowledge, I decided I would branch out and start a consulting group, which I did. And that went well. I did that for about 5 years, and we were successful at it. We were paying the bills. At the age of 40, I learned to sail. So why is that important? One day in 1992, while crewing on a 30-foot boat called Bon Chance, good luck, we were off the coast of New Jersey, and I met a crew member who told me about 2 friends of his that were college roommates and were really interested in starting a coffee company. and they had an appliance idea. And I, with great wisdom and having been in the appliance business, recommended to him that he tell them to fold their chents and get a real job. He actually thought I was wise and arranged for me to meet with him. So John Sylvan and Peter Dragon and I met one night at the Ground Round in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. They told me about this idea they had for a single-serve portion pack system for the office coffee service market. It's quite a mouthful. And I thought, okay, tell me more. And they were interesting. They were not contemplating the next Mr. Coffee, retail coffee machine. They knew nothing about product development and manufacturing, so I had something to offer. So after a discussion of this self-funded opportunity with my wife, Els, who's sitting there, thank you, we effectively bet the farm, wrote some checks, and I became a co-founder of Keurig, a company no one ever heard of and no one could pronounce. In 1993, John and Peter and I were working in the loft space in a Waltham watch factory, trying to figure out how do we incubate this idea. How do we deliver a great cup of coffee, one cup at a time, in a salad dressing cup, which it really is. We got the idea from the Ken salad dressing cup, deep, dark secret. And the business model was pretty clear. It really very generic. All you business guys will know this. You identify a legally addictive substance, put it in a portion pack, and collect a royalty. Where's the challenge? Well, product execution actually was the challenge. Initially, essentially the business is a three-legged stool. We have an appliance, we have a portion pack, and then behind Oz's curtain we have this packaging line that makes all the portion packs. So here's how I would sum up the elements of the Keurig venture in the very beginning. We had the entrepreneurs, the idea guys, Peter and John, and to a lesser degree myself. We had enablers, visionaries. We had to go out and raise venture capital money, and we had a lot of humiliating presentations. But we finally did. We engaged Green Mountain Coffee Roasters to give us an education in business. After we made a presentation to the chairman at the time, he said, well, what would you like from us? I said, $1 million and an education in coffee. He said, well, we'll start with the education in coffee. And then we needed a leadership team. How do we execute this? How do we take this money we've just gotten from the VCs and really bring a product to market? That's the challenge. Where would this take us and how would we get there? How big could we become? So John and Peter and I thought, we dreamt that if the stars aligned, Keurig could perhaps become a $150 million company in the $2.7 billion office coffee service business. And we thought, eureka, that would be terrific. Can we make that happen? So John did a lot of the early product development work. Peter was doing a lot of the business planning, and I was kind of bridging a gap between the two. We applied for and were awarded our initial patents, which were very important. They gave us the tangible asset we needed to go out and raise the venture capital money. You have to understand, raising venture capital money in the mid-90s was not easy for a simple coffee operation, since virtually everybody then was a dot-com something. And the VCs really looked at us and thought, how much more out of touch can these three idiots be? So I relocated from New Jersey to Massachusetts, self-funded, of course. John and Peter left the company in '96, and the investors wanted to develop a new leadership team. So they hired a gentleman named Nick Lazaris, who's from Newton, with an incredible background. When I say Nick Lazaris, 3 words immediately trip off my tongue: energy, intelligence, and integrity. And he was amazing. He was a MIT undergrad, Harvard MBA, CPA, had been chief of staff for Jay Rockefeller when he was the governor of West Virginia. So Nick was a driven guy. He could handle a lot of detail. Chris Stevens was hired from Budweiser, and he had been a general manager there, and he knew how to put together a sales organization. And more importantly, unlike myself, Chris had stellar, what I call platform skills. He could get in front of an audience and just charm them. And we needed that, because in the background, we weren't very charming. And then I was responsible for product development, building an engineering team, and establishing the supply side strategic alliances that were necessary for the business. So some quick timeline highlights. In 1995, when we were self-funded, we sold our first 2 prototype coffee makers to Dunkin' Donuts. So not everybody was a visionary in 95, even in the coffee world. In 98, we finally got to market and sold about 1,394 brewers, and then about 3 million K-Cups. And we thought, okay, we've got a business, more than 100 a month, we can do this. Revenues hit about $22 million in 2002. In 2005, we, through a whole chain of events, that's a separate course, we had some money put into our treasury, and we entered the at-home market, or the consumer retail market, the appliance that most of you are familiar with. Then in 2006, the venture capitalists decided it was time for them to cash in. These guys had one successful Christmas, and no guarantee they're going to have another one. So Green Mountain then stepped up and bought us for $168 million. So pretty good payday. From there, we had just absolutely unprecedented growth, reaching nearly $2 billion in revenue by 2011. I still say that, and I think, seriously? In December of 2012, the Green Mountain Coffee Roaster Board hired Brian Kelly as our president and CEO, and he came from 6 years at Coca-Cola running the still beverages division, everything that didn't have bubbles in it. So Brian is amazing. He has reorganized the company, renamed the company, launched 2 huge product initiatives, and revenues are now greater than $4 billion. And as Brian says, we're just stepping off the edge right now. We're going to become a global beverage system, which is amazing. And so Brian's sense of scale, what he brought to the company, again, a lot of energy, intelligence, and integrity. Always good things to look for in a boss and a business leader. He said, you guys did a great job building a North American coffee company, selling 6 billion cups a year, K-Cups, portion packs. He said, but you have to recognize that Coca-Cola, globally, we sell 1.8 billion beverages a day. He says, wow, this is incredible. That's been the ride. So I have a note to myself here. So pause and reflect on the dream of becoming a $150 million OCS operator. Don't set your sights too short, and you never know how big that and how broad that horizon can be. So just keep going after it. So a couple of lessons learned and applied. Build strong teams. As a LERP and as a business leader, I look for heart, smarts, guts, and luck, and don't discount luck. Associate with people and hire people that are smarter than yourself, which in my case was very easy. Have a contingency plan. Always know where the exits are. Not necessarily to take the exits, but to reroute. One of the things you learn in the LERPs is that if you got compromised by the enemy, you would engage them with a grenade, not a rifle. Don't give your position away. Not before you have to. Know who you can count on for support. In the military, it was a quick reaction force. And most importantly, always thank that support team. Number 2, define some core values. So in the beginning, the 3 of us to have a corporate culture just seemed ridiculous. I mean, the 3 of us in the Waltham Watch factory trying to come up with the scam in a month. What's our corporate culture? But core values were important, and they were essentially trust, respect, and responsibility. 3 is that issues and problems will always arise. Focus on resolution. You're not going to move forward until you solve the problem. Don't worry about who's at fault, unless, of course, it's yourself, then fess up and get the team focused on the resolution. So if you're driving home and you get a flat tire, you don't look for the nail. Focus on the resolution. Root cause analysis is an excellent tool, but be careful. It can also become an exercise in self-deception. Don't get in that spiral. I see some heads nodding. There's been some experience in this room. So number 4, in the early days of Keurig, we had coined the mantra of hard work, smart work, teamwork. So essentially, and especially in the early days, oftentimes the smart work would fail. The hard work had to kick in over time, but it was the teamwork that found the resolution. Build strong strategic alliances, number 5. So I've come to define that as being focused on the core values, and then recognizing with your partners that at the end of the day, neither party will have an unearned gain nor an unwarranted liability. That has saved us hundreds of hours with attorneys going through documents to figuring out who's at fault, what's at blame. Just balance out the scale and move on. Focus on the resolution. Find the theme there? Communication. Years ago, I was taught a great lesson at NJIT, and it said that there's only one rule in communication. And it's very simple. It says the meaning of the message lies always with the receiver. Falling short of that, you're not communicating. With your staffs, peers, customers, listen well with interest and understanding. Great leaders, this is, I think, very important. Great leaders learn to communicate equally well up, down, and across the organization. Try not to ask questions that put anyone on the defensive. You know, help me understand this will get you a lot further than, what the hell were you thinking? It's also a good argument for face-to-face communication and fewer emails. Finally, remember that sentence that struck with me? What you focus on defines what you're not looking at. Well, try and make sure that people on your team are taking a look at what you're not focused on. Don't let things overwhelm you. And then the essay that I talked about was, as I said, it was nothing to do with business, but it was looking for a distinction between God and religion. I just found that very interesting. With that, I again congratulate you and would remind you to stay curious, stay open to opportunities, evaluate, but do not fear risk. It's there for you. And then one final note, and I'd be remiss in saying this, one of the things I take the greatest pride in as being a co-founder of Keurig is that I've had the opportunity to incubate jobs. So you can do no better thing for the societies you're in than to do something that incubates jobs. Thank you very much. Please stay with me tonight. Thank you. I have no more to say. He's asked me to stay. So.
Well, thank you, Dick, for your inspiring words of wisdom and inspiration. Thank you for sharing your life story with us. Focus, persistence, and we will always accept the boat rides as we move forward. An incredible moment, right? A boat ride leads to, who would have known? Who would have known? I can't help but reflect also on the no risk, no fun analogy that Fernando mentioned. You took risk, and I have a sense you've been having a lot of fun, professionally and personally. So once again, thank you very much, Dick, and I hope you'll accept this very small token of appreciation from us to you.
Thank you
For being with us.
Thank you so very much.
We now turn to Professor Peter Russo, who will present the academic achievements and awards.
It is my pleasure to introduce the members of Beta Gamma Sigma for this year's Executive MBA class. Election to membership in Beta Gamma Sigma is the highest national recognition a student can achieve in an undergraduate or graduate program in business or management. To be eligible for membership, a student must rank in the top 20% of the master's class. Please stand as your name is called and remain standing until all names have been announced. Jason Ehrenberg. Peggy Chu. Ray Habayeb. Sean Lamont. Jonathan Mason. Colleen McCracken. Michael Shad. Congratulations on your outstanding achievement. The next award is for academic excellence. After 18 months and 10 tough courses, one person graduates today with the highest grade point average. For that distinction, will Michael Shad please come forward? I blew it. I apologize to everyone. Michael Shav will now present the John R. Russell Award.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Professor Russo. The John R. Russell Teaching Award was endowed by EMBA 7. Thanks for the extraordinary teaching of Professor Russell, who retired at the end of EMBA 7 in 1995. They honored Professor Russell for the mastery of his craft, which led him into the practical scholarship, and these words, which I quote: "From his passion for scholarship, he has rekindled our own, and he has done this with patience, humility, and an obvious love for all of us, and for the future of this community. This award shall be presented by each graduating class to a faculty member who embodies excellence and dedication to executive education in a manner consistent with the values and extraordinary talents of Professor Russell." That's the end of the quote. Consideration for this award is based on characteristics such as superior command of knowledge, painstaking preparation for class, clarity, insight, fairness, humor, and an unwavering commitment to standards of the highest quality every day from the teacher and from the students. Undoubtedly, Professor Suarez embodies these values. My classmates and I are thankful for the passion Professor Suarez brought not just to class, but to every interaction with each of us. Every interaction was proof of how much Professor Suarez cared about our education and us as people. He established an environment of inclusiveness where divergent viewpoints were encouraged. He was incredibly generous with his time, offering help and insight outside of class and even his modules. And his commitment to us was clearly demonstrated through all the work he did with our international trip to Chile and Peru. It was also wonderful to see that business leaders and educators across Chile, where Professor Suarez was born, shared our deep respect for the man. Simply put, EMBA 26 was honored and fortunate to have Professor Suarez as a teacher and mentor. Thank you, Professor. On behalf of EMBA 26, I am honored to present this award to you, Professor Suarez.
Jason Ehrenberg will now present the class gift.
Thank you, Professor Russo. Never fails it right before they call your name. You knock your hat sitting down, trying to get up. Good afternoon, everyone. I am honored to present the class gift on behalf of EMBA 26. The class of 2000, EMBA 12, created the EMBA Charitable Fund, and with that established a tradition of giving and social responsibility within the Executive MBA program. Since then, every EMBA class has funded a class gift divided between the EMBA Charitable Fund and a charity of the class's choice. I'm pleased to report that our class has continued this wonderful tradition. Together with contributions from our spouses, friends, family, and work associates, the EMBA 26 class has raised an amount of money that is, I dare say, unprecedented. The primary charity we selected is the Boston Collegiate Charter School, a free public school in Boston serving nearly 700 students in grades 5 through 12. The mission of the school is simple: to prepare every student for college. The student body is diverse, with students coming from all 13 neighborhoods of Boston, more than 50% from Dorchester. Admission to the school is by random public lottery, and there are currently 3,000 students on the waiting list to get in. Some of their students have disabilities, others come to the school reading below grade level, but once a student is admitted, the teachers and administration will work with fierce determination to make sure that that child succeeds. This includes an extended learning day, tutoring, and school on Saturday. The students themselves work extremely hard, and their efforts have paid off. The 10th graders at Boston Collegiate performed #1 in the state on the English Language Arts and Math MCAS exams. Since Boston Collegiate's first class graduated in 2004, 100% of their graduates have been accepted to college. It is my pleasure to announce our gift of $13,042 to the Boston Collegiate Charter School. Thank you. I'd like to invite to the stage the Executive Director of the school, Ms. Shana Varon, to accept the gift. For Residence Week 3, the International Field Seminar, as you heard, we went to Santiago, Chile, and Lima, Peru. We also wanted to do something to give back to a country that we visited, so we raised some money to give to an organization serving that population, the Lima Programs of Partners in Health. For obvious reasons, a representative from the Peru programs was not able to join us today, but we will send them a gift of $3,024. Last, but certainly not least, we've raised money for the EMBA Charitable Fund, which, due to the collective generosity of every EMBA class since the founding in EMBA 12, has been able to fund several years' worth of socially purposed summer internships. This year, the fund will dispense $6,738 for these socially purposed summer internships for MBA students in the School of Management. As part of our class gift, we're pleased to announce a contribution of $11,367 to this important fund. And I'd like to invite Dean Lawson to the stage to accept this gift on behalf of the university.
Mike, if I could ask you to remain standing for a minute and come back up this way. I would just like to recognize Dean Lawson, who will be retiring at the end of this academic year, for his outstanding contribution to the EMBA program. It was his vision 27 years ago that made the Executive MBA program a reality at Boston University. And it's been his leadership that's made the program what it is today. So on behalf of the faculty, staff, students, and alumni here, I'd just like to say thank you.
Please join me in once again congratulating all of the student and faculty award recipients, and Mike Lawson in his last official act, actually, as a dean here at Boston University School of Management. The Executive MBA program has been very fortunate to have Peter Russo. Professor Russo served as the Executive MBA program faculty director for the past several years. I'd like you to know also that today he's passing the reins to Professor Bill Kahn, who will take on the responsibility as the new Executive MBA faculty director as we move into the new year. Peter, thank you so very much. And at this time, I'd ask Janice Dolnick, the director of the Executive MBA program, to please step forward to make a few remarks.
So today we wanted to recognize Pete Russo's contribution to the EMBA program. Pete's been with the School of Management for 15 years. He's been a wonderful teacher and a mentor to scores and scores of students while they're here at the School of Management, and certainly for many years after they leave us. Pete's also put his enormous energy into the EMBA program as faculty director for the last 2 years, while continuing to teach entrepreneurship, run our international seminar, and mentor many of our EMBAs as they launch new businesses and careers. You've been busy.
I can stay that way.
So Pete will continue to teach in the EMBA program, but today we'd like to honor Pete's special contribution as faculty director with a gift and a very heartfelt thank you from all of us.
There's nothing like a standing ovation, and I know our colleagues are deeply appreciative, and it comes from your heart. The traditional symbols of the academic degree are the ceremonial hood and the diploma. On the recommendation of the faculty of the School of Management at Boston University and by the authority of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, granted to the trustees of Boston University and entrusted here to me today, the academic hood will be invested and the diploma placed in the hand of each graduate as the outward and visible signs of the degree of Master of Business Administration being conferred today. Professors Peter Russo and Fernando Suarez will assist in the hooding of the graduates. Laura Zellman will assist the graduates. Sandy Harper will assist with the diplomas, and Janice Dolnick will call the roll. Janice?
This is the fun part. Dean Freeman, I'm pleased to present to you the candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration. Jason Obed Ehrenberg, High Honors. Rochelle Makiba Beeks. Garfield Booth. David Charles Bursell. Margaret Christina Campbell. Peggy Chu, High Honors. Lin Chu, Honors. Amber Conley. Jeffrey Paul Cunningham. Robert A. Genduzo. Karen Graham. Ray Habayeb, High Honors. Mark Jenkins. Kamal Call. Arnaud Lacoste. Sean Lamont, High Honors. Nicholas Lydon, Honors. Christine Ellen Malablocki. Jonathan Paul Mason, Honors. Colleen Leslie McCracken, High Honors. Patrick McKinney. Evan Metter, Honors. Gregory Christopher Montemoro. Greg Murphy. Michael Shad, High Honors. Josh Singletary. Mimi Wynn Thane. Brad Thibodeau. Tom Winston, Honors. Congratulations to all of you.
Congratulations to each of our graduates on your achievement, earning the Master of Business Administration degree from Boston University School of Management. Congratulations. Whoa. final moment, we get to ask a special request of all of our now graduates. Graduates, would you please stand and face the attendees for me? As you look to the audience, the individuals with us today have been your partners on the journey toward your MBA, your family, and your friends. Graduates, would you please join in a final hearty round of applause for those that have been so loyally supporting you during these past many months. You know, in particular, we have the next generation of leaders in the audience. It's so wonderful at this ceremony to hear the next generation, the 0 to 18-year-olds, really celebrating with their families and friends. Young men and women, someday you'll be in these crazy-looking robes, and you'll have friends and neighbors and parents celebrating with you. Graduates, you may now turn around and be seated. Graduates, as you emerge from the Executive MBA journey, we trust that the remarkable sense of accomplishment that you feel today will carry forward to all facets of your life. Wherever life may take you, we hope that you'll find the time and spirit to stay connected with us here at Boston University and with your classmates, the wonderful Executive MBA class, Class 26, the Executive MBAs of 2014. Reverend Longsdorff will now provide the closing benediction.
Please join me in a brief word of prayer. Please rise. As we go, dear God, we pray, remind us that we do not go alone. We are part of a working fellowship, a spirited community. The voices of our teachers here go with us. Our family and friends will always, on our journeys, accompany us. Our community of colleagues support and surround us still, and our closest friends, partners, and spouses carry us. Wonder, generosity, compassion, and kindness are present and presence among us now and throughout all of our wanderings. We commence, but not alone. Let us find in this moment the wholeness of our community, the webs and bands that will forever hold us together. Send us forth with this blessing, we ask. Amen.
We now conclude the 26th convocation of the Executive MBA program at Boston University School of Management. Everyone's invited to join faculty and graduates at the reception in the atrium immediately behind the auditorium. I would ask that everyone remain in the auditorium itself. You may sit or stand as the faculty and the graduates recess. Thank you, and once again, congratulations to our Executive MBA class of 2014.
Thank you.